You know that feeling like where you start something and you've got the best intentions ever, and then a few weeks or months or even days later, it's just quietly slipped away. And it's like you get frustrated because you didn't decide to stop, you didn't want to stop, you still care, the idea's still there, it still is important, but the momentum's gone. And if that's where you are right now, this episode is for you.
You're listening to the Equine Business Podcast. Practical business support for equine business owners. With Jenni Bush, the Equine Business Mentor.
So, welcome back to the podcast. Hello, if we've not met before, I'm Jenni and I help equine business owners to build a business that actually works alongside horses and everything else that you've got going on. Today, we're talking about something I see all the time, and that is about why you lose momentum and how to get it back without burning yourself out or just trying to start again for the 100th time, because it's like you fall off and then you have to keep getting back on all the time. So what we're going to talk about first is I want to talk about what losing momentum actually looks like. Now, you think you probably know what it looks like roughly, but when I talk about losing momentum, I don't mean you're just lying on the sofa and you've given up and you're doing nothing, or that you're procrastinating, or you've been looking at your phone for 100th time and you haven't got any further. Most of the time, it's actually much quieter than that. And it usually starts with your energy, and momentum comes often from new starts, new year, new idea, fresh plan, Monday morning. There's always that new feeling to those things. And that gets us into the mood and we map things out. We set our goals. We might even follow through on them for a while, but then we get to a point where life just happens. Maybe your horse goes lame. Maybe it gets an abscess. Maybe the client situation just takes more energy than expected and totally drains you and takes you down a whole other rabbit path. Perhaps you get ill, perhaps your children get ill, the weather suddenly turns and it's just awful, which, February, right? You're tired and you're tired in a way that no matter how much sleep you get, it just doesn't seem to fix it. So slowly, without making any big decisions, those things that you said you would do just seem to drift away. You missed a week of posting and getting your business out there and getting your marketing done, and then you miss another one. You don't send that email. Guilty. And this is what I want to say, right? While I'm talking about this, please don't think that I'm coming from a place of I'm better than you. I'm not. I have moments of this as well, which is where I have got my thoughts on this from and my ideas and how I have learned from it. But anyway, back to it. So, so you don't send that email. You stop talking about your offers. You stop telling people that you're here and you've got availability. And then a month or two later, you look up and think, how am I back here again? Like, why am I not anywhere further forward? And that's what losing momentum really is. It's not that you don't care. It's just that everything sometimes gets heavier. And when things get heavy, you default to what's right in front of you, the clients, the horses, the family, the day-to-day tasks, because sometimes that you just have to get through. You just have to get through what has to be done. And those business building pieces just quietly slide to the bottom of the list. So what I'm trying to think about, what people often don't say out loud, and it's that when this happens, the cost of it isn't just practical, it's the background guilt. It's the constant sense that you're chasing your tail and you are behind. It's that little voice saying to you, you're rubbish, you can't stick to anything, you can't do this, you're not cut out for this. And it's that moment where you lose faith in yourself, you start to not trust yourself because you didn't follow through on something that you knew was important. And if this sounds familiar, right? If this sounds familiar to you, I want you to just take a deep breath and ground for a second, because there is nothing wrong, right? This is normal. You're human. Absolutely nothing wrong with you. It's incredibly common in most equine businesses. And especially when you are a solo business owner, you're running everything yourself. It's a seasonal industry a lot of the time. If you're working around horses that just don't care about the weather or the content schedule, you're just having to respond to real life. So it's normal. Yep. So the problem that we have is that we are relying on motivation to get us through. And motivation is going to fail you. Motivation is not your friend. It cannot be trusted. And this is the mistake that I see people make so often, because they assume that the problem is that they need more motivation. They assume that in order to make this happen, they've just got to motivate themselves. They tell themselves things like, I just need to be more disciplined. I just need to get my mojo back. I need someone to kick me into gear, right? But motivation was never, ever meant to carry your whole business. Wasn't meant to carry your whole business. It goes up and down. Motivation is great and I love it and it's so useful, but it's not reliable because it's affected by sleep, it's affected by money, it's affected by stress, it's affected by the weather, your energy, and what's going on with everything else in your life. So when your business only works when you feel motivated, it's always going to have this stop start up and down cycle. And that's not because you're lazy or inconsistent. It's just because the entire thing is resting on something that's totally unstable. And you've built it on that because motivation got you this far. And what is missing underneath is a structure. What's missing is a simple system, a simple rhythm. So a baseline for what enough looks like. So on a good week, you get to do loads. On a hard week, you do nothing. And over time, that turns into this all or nothing pattern where you're constantly restarting and you're not stable. You're not stabilizing. And that's the real issue. So it's not that you're losing momentum. You're just having to rebuild from scratch over and over and over again. And it feels like you're just constantly on this hamster wheel. So what getting momentum back actually looks like, and what we're going to replace it with, now this is the real kicker for me. And I'm going to talk about my washing, which is absolutely crazy. Here I am, because I'm trying to think of things that I have to do. Same as your business, there's things that you have to do. You don't always feel like doing, you don't always want to do. For me, in my life, that's the laundry. I absolutely hate laundry, right? But I have a lot of it. As most of you know, there's 3 adults in my family. There's me and my daughter and my husband. I'm a full-time carer for my husband. He can't do anything. He creates a lot of washing. Normally sort of the beds, the towels and everything from the carers. And then, of course, I've got a teenage daughter who also works at a livery yard. So she gets through at least 2 sets of clothes every day. And the washing is crazy. I'm never motivated to do that. If I leave it to motivation, I end up with Mount Washmore. Mount Washmore, you would not believe, very fast, very quickly. So how did I get to the point where I can get it done and it doesn't overload me? Is about having that system. So let's talk about what rebuilding your momentum actually looks like in real life and what we're going to rely on instead, because I want to be really clear about this. I don't want you to do a massive reset. Now, I have written a book. I'm going to give it away at the National Equine Show very, very soon. And I will also be putting it out on my website very soon for you to grab if you want it. But it's all about the Equine Business Reset. And this is a little bit about what we're going to do too. Because we have to understand that we do need a reset, but it's not a massive one. It's not about color coding plans. It's not about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's none of that. It's just deciding that this time it doesn't have to be perfect. Momentum is going to come back in small, repeatable actions that don't fall apart when life gets messy. It's small, repeatable actions. So that could look like for you protecting 1 hour a week for your marketing. Even if all you do is say, I send 1 email, I post 1 post. That does me for the week. It could be having like a simple inquiry process so that you're not rewriting messages every time somebody gets in touch. You've got a bank of things that you can just send back. Great if you've done keyboard shortcuts, but that's another thing that we can talk about on another episode if you want. It's about choosing like one thing that you'll do every week or every day, no matter how busy things get, that you can do that's achievable. So it's not about having to do everything and having to do it perfect. So like back to my laundry. So the way that I do my laundry now is before I go to bed, I put the wash on. Then when I get up, I take the wash out. I take it to the tumble dryer because who's got time to hang out washing these days? Especially it just won't dry because we're in February. Goes into the tumble dryer. The load that's in the tumble dryer comes in. I fold that load. That's the laundry done for the day. It's about a 15-minute reset. Yeah. I've still got the washing in the tumble dryer. Yeah, absolutely. But it stays now till tomorrow. It's about having that simple system because it's like, no, I don't need to do that today. I don't need to be telling myself all day long, I'm going to find that. I've got to do that. I've got to do that. It's like, no, I've done the bit from yesterday. This is the routine. This is what we're going to do. And when we get things like that set up in our businesses, it makes such a massive difference. It makes it so easy to be consistent. And when we're consistent, we get more confident in ourselves because we're actually following through on the things that we said we were going to do. So we don't feel like as an imposter. There's just so many different things that happen when we get this little level of momentum in. So it's more about just getting some momentum and not getting motivation and not trusting that you're going to have to do it all. This is about saying, yeah, this is what I work on in that specific time, and then come back and say, did I do it? Didn't I do it? So sometimes about breaking down the 100 million things that's going on in your head that you're telling yourself you've got to do, and just going, if I can only do one thing. Momentum is so much easier to maintain when you have somewhere to show up each week and to say, right, this is what I'm working on. This is what I did. Like having that accountability, having that support, having those moments to go, right, this is why I did do it. This is why I didn't do it. And actually being able to be kinder to yourself and more reflective and get that momentum back. So this is exactly why I created the Stable Foundations Collective. It's not about turning you into a robot. It's not about telling you you've got to do things my way or making out that I'm better than you and whatever. It's about helping you to get a place where you can land and you can reset and you can get the business moving, even through winter, even through the tough months, even through the tired weeks, the real life. It's about how to get your business to a position when motivation is going to disappear, that you can still have momentum in the business. So it's built for all of the weeks, the weeks where things are easy and the weeks where things are tough. So if you've been beating yourself up for losing momentum again, I want you to know, absolutely normal. You're not inconsistent. You're not failing. You've just been trying to carry too much with motivation alone, and motivation cannot support your business on its own. So start with just one or two simple things that you can keep up with, even on a rough week, and let consistency be boring. Let progress be quiet and allow momentum to come back through those small actions. So if you're listening today and thinking, that's me, I don't want to keep going around in this cycle, you are welcome to send me a message at either on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Find me at the Equine Business Mentor and tell me what you keep dropping. And I'll tell you honestly whether the collective would be a really good fit for you or if you need something else. Because I've got other programs as well. But my main one and my one that I love that's the most simple is the collective. And it's not about pushing harder. It's not about having more things add to your calendar because I know you're busy. It's just about having that 1 hour a week where you can get some focus. We can sort through all of that stuff that's going on and move you forward. So it's about helping you to build business that doesn't fall apart when life gets heavy and when momentum and motivation are not your friend. I will see you on the next episode. Take care.